Now we will head down to the Argentinian Andes and hear from Acción Serrana.
Hello, I'm Pablo, President of the Foundation of Biospheric Activities. And yes, Acción Serrana is our main project. I'm here representing a wide team from the heart of Argentina, the Sierras Grandes of Córdoba to the north, through our biocultural restoration of Argentina's highlands, Acción Serrana, an initiative that is started in the Sierras Grandes of Córdoba here in the heart of Argentina, focusing in restoring the highest forest of Earth, the polylepis trees. Here we call it tabaquillos. It restores all the degraded ecosystems in Córdoba highlands through reforestations with this forest, protection of water sources and climate adaptation, and community-based biodiversity conservation and environmental education. If you like, we can go to the next slide and then suddenly to the next. We are part of a wider alliance, Acción Andina, that operates in all the Andes. We are the southernmost point. Acción Andina was founded in 2018, and then it grew to protect all these native ecosystems in the Andean region and the associated mountains. The first large-scale multinational initiative to restore this kind of high-altitude forest, and is co-founded by a Peruvian organization, Andean Ecosystems Association, ECOAN, and an international organization, Global Forest Generation, with the objective of restoring 1 million hectares in the next decades and work for the next 25 years. Then, until now, we planted together more than 12.5 million trees in more than 6 countries, Ecuador, Peru, Bolivia, Colombia, Chile, and Argentina. And here, in the next slide, you can see in Acción Serrana, we are a fractal of Acción Andina in the dry Chaco bioregion. We are in the mountains of Córdoba, that is the southernmost mountain range of this area where we work, and we operate more than 12 areas with 26 nurseries producing with this special kind of tree related with the water cycles. And we already planted more than 876,000 trees over 70 consecutive campaigns with Acción Andina, restoring more than 290 hectares. In this campaign, this year, we are arriving to the first million of trees planted here in these mountains, with 65 permanent staff and more than 1,300 annual volunteers in every campaign. We collaborate with more than 25 organizations, NGOs, institutions, government institutions, and businesses. And as if we can see that our main goal beyond the ecological processes is promoting the visibility of the local gaucho and indigenous communities we work with, and creating local environmental green shops with the youth, especially restoration, mountain guides, forest rangers, etc. We can say that Acción Serrana put together a long experience of decades of many grassroots projects that through Acción Serrana really came organized and representative of all the bioregion. We can see in the next slide our values that are very basic but really guiding the heterogeneity, the diversity of our groups in the different basins. Is ecological integrity, cultural resilience, youth inclusion, and reciprocity with nature. In the next slide, we can see our vision, purpose, and objectives to regenerate mountain ecosystems by integrating science, ancestral wisdom, and intergenerational leadership, with the purpose of safeguarding watersheds, restore forests, and strengthen mountain communities. That is our heart. The objective for this year, beyond planting the first million of trees, is to train bioregional youth in green shops and to develop local landscape regenerative products and services, as we call it, to become self-sustainable, and also to activate a training program that we call Academia Biospherica program in alliance with other institutions. In the next slide, you can see our capital mobilization strategy that is based mainly in philanthropy, grants for biodiversity, climate, and education, 70% Acción Andina, 30% matching grants until now, and then public-private partnerships, and then we are going to the blended finance related with the next steps that we can see. In the next slide is also what we are conceiving as our strategy. Through the campaigns that are for reforestation mainly and through the education programs, we work with developing infrastructure and also big teams of youth that are becoming professionals, and also starting to work with the commercial or future commercial aspects of each point of these nodes around the mountains, with kind of the herbal blends of teas from our buffer zones and the touristic visits to the restoration sites. And that generates sub-funds through community microgrants and other species grants, branding and product supports that are being collected in the bioregion and looking for support abroad. Our criteria is always based in local ownership, biocultural priority, and replicability, as we did from where we started 23 years ago with the first projects in this region. Our governance model, as you can see in the next slide, is based always from a local perspective from the community and watershed councils that are more than 5 little basins that are getting organized to different organizations, through the intergenerational advisory board that is composing the local organizations that are articulated through a national foundation that I direct, the Foundation of Biospheric Activities, and sponsored by international organizations like Triangle Foundation, Global Forest Generation, and others. In the next slide, you can see a little of our legal and strategic partners. Our entities that I just mentioned, that is a national one to implement a bioregional new one, very aligned with the BioFi principles and designs, the Biospheric Academy Foundation, and an international one that is helping empowering all these little projects to become a big one. Our strategic partners.
Pablo?
Yes, we are finishing with our extended coalition of rural educators, indigenous and gaucho communities, and youth of the mountains. We can see in the next slide, we have very developed and standard monitoring systems of reporting with university monitoring that is citizen-led through different reforestation areas, monitoring hectares under restoration, survival and growth of trees, youth employed, staff involved, etc. The next steps, as you can see in the last slides, is of course to co-create a platform with all the bioregional finance facilities existing through promote funding, communication, and strategy. And why us? Why Acción Serrana? Because we became more than a project. It's a living, regenerating biocultural movement as we conceive, ground on place, people, and purpose. And it restores the forest where all the water, yes, I can wrap saying that we are restoring not only the places where all the waters of this province, Córdoba, comes, but doing the same in the watersheds of all the main rivers of South America through Acción Andina, rekindling, making alive the connection in between the communities and the mountains. And we are calling this to become a bioregional model for all the planetary regeneration really needed, scaling up in that purpose. Thank you for your attention, and really ready, willing, and able to move forward in all that is required to do it together. Thank you.